For the past semester, I've been studying abroad in London, and by my count, I will have seen 31 plays or musicals in this great city by the time I leave. And all of those shows were seen at theaters. So in this video, I'm going to be sharing some of my favorite theaters in London. Stepping into Shakespeare's Globe takes you back to Elizabethan times. This is a reconstruction of the original that opened in 1997, and has been producing primarily Shakespeare plays in its outdoor theater ever since. It also opened an indoor theater in 2014. The outdoor theater is round with a rectangular thrust stage and offers standing room tickets for a low price, allowing audiences to become groundlings, as they were called back in the day. The first time I was at the Globe was in the summer of 2023 on a school drama trip to London and Edinburgh. Our class toured the theater and then got a Shakespeare acting workshop. In 2024, I saw one of the Globe's productions, but on my laptop. It was the recording of Tim Carroll's Twelfth Night, famously starring Mark Rylance as Olivia. This production absolutely blew me away. As someone who had studied Shakespeare before in class but never really understood what made him so incredible, it really opened my eyes. The production didn't try to modernize or add in additional plot devices. It just trusted the audience that they would understand the Shakespeare exactly as it was written. And seeing it performed in the Globe space added another layer of authenticity for me. During my time in London, I've been to the Globe 4 times. Once for a tour, twice for Twelfth Night, and then once for Troilus and Cressida. Every time I go, I'm amazed at the intimate connections actors are able to make in the space. Joss Van Tyler's Fool in Twelfth Night in particular had the entire audience and their snacks on the palm of his hand. I'm also amazed at the incredible acting craft on stage. With no audio amplification and the audience on 3 sides of the actor, the Globe truly separates the good from the best. But when something works, even in this unforgiving space, it's magic like nothing else for me. The Hampstead Theatre is not actually in Hampstead, but is in an area of North London called Swiss Cottage, which was confusing to me because, as far as I could tell, it is not Swiss, nor is it a cottage. But anyways, the Hampstead Theatre is also actually composed of 2 theatres. One upstairs, more traditional proscenium-style space, and one downstairs black box. The Hampstead's main mission is producing British playwrights' new works, and it also frequently hosts premieres by American playwrights. Looking at all the posters and production photos that adorn the walls of the Hampstead, I was honestly shocked as to how much I recognized. Famous plays, yes, like Stephen Crum's The Humans, but also plays by rising playwrights who got their first works at the Hampstead. I think I saw 2 plays by Beth Steele on the walls, the writer of Till the Stars Come Down. The upstairs-downstairs aspect of the Hampstead makes each trip varied. Downstairs, my class first saw The Billionaire Inside Your Head, a new play by Will Lord. Lord opens the play with a segment where an unnamed character asks the audience to look at each other and then answer a question, shall we say. The flexible space allowed Billionaire to be staged in a traverse, meaning audiences sit on either side of the action, so they could easily lock eyes with someone across the stage to make Lord's device work. The week after, we visited the upstairs theatre to see the UK premiere of Richard Greenberg's The Assembled Parties. I love this play, and the traditional upstairs space was a big change from downstairs that worked for this more classic family play. The Hampstead is unfortunately going through a bit of a rough time right now. In 2022, its Arts Council government funding was cut entirely due to leveling up. As a result, its artistic director stepped down, and now its chief executive is operating both roles. The downstairs theatre is too small of a space for any show in there to make money, but even so, I think it's an integral space for new and experimental plays to be produced. I can only hope that the Hampstead will continue to operate in the coming years and that I will be able to visit there many times in the future. Going from the tiny Hampstead Theatre to the huge London Coliseum was certainly a big jump. The Coliseum is the largest theatre by seat number in the West End, and is primarily the home of the English National Opera. It's a huge space, very ornate, and the E&O offers most of its productions sung in English, which makes it more accessible to a general British audience. Another way that E&O makes opera accessible, and one that I'm personally hugely thankful for, is by offering free tickets to people aged under 21. Like me! I was able to see 2 shows through the under 21 scheme, Jake Hegge's modern opera Dead Man Walking, and the Gilbert and Sullivan operetta HMS Pinafore. They were very different, but both delighted me in many ways, especially with how they used the huge space of the Coliseum. Dead Man Walking with a huge 2-tiered set and a car on stage, and Pinafore with a great ship's deck. Just like the Hampstead, E&O was also impacted by leveling up. The Arts Council cut their funding and kind of suggested they move to Manchester instead of London. Eno's funding was restored, but I believe they're still effectively being forced to invest further in a Manchester base. I hope that the Coliseum will still be put to good use because it's a great space, and even if it seems redundant, it's important to have a range of different producing houses in London. It's a range of artistic perspectives and productions that fuel creativity and what truly makes London such a great cultural hub for the performing arts. The National Theatre is a must on any list of theatres in London. I mean, it's literally Britain's Royal National Theatre. With 3 performing spaces, a huge foyer with restaurants, cafes, and a bookstore, and an entirely in-house production space that I think is the largest factory in central London, it's an incredibly impressive space. The vast breadth of the National's history and work is too much for me to really cover in this one segment, so I'm just going to focus on things that I really love. First, like any theatre that is publicly funded, the National's lobby area is open to everyone, regardless of if they have a ticket or not. I have been there many times, mostly to grab a coffee and get some work done, but also if I just need a space to rest for a bit. They also have a discount for students, which makes it the cheapest Americano I've experienced in central London. It's a really nice study space, and I'm also in South Bank so often to go to the BFI that it's really convenient to just pop in there before or after my movie. Second, the National's filming systems with NT Live and NT at Home have introduced me to so many incredible works of theatre that I would never have been able to experience without it. And not even just productions that were at the National. Some of my favorites were productions at other venues in London that were still released with NT Live, such as Jamie Lloyd's The Seagull that was at the Harold Pinter Theatre. It's just an incredible program that breaks down so many barriers to theatre. As for my actual time watching theatre at the National, I've somehow only seen 2 plays there, Susie Miller's Inter Alia and Nima Talageni's The Bacchae. To be honest, I wasn't totally enthralled by either of them, but they still represent the diverse range of productions and perspectives that the National produces. The National Theatre is probably the venue on this list that I'll interact with the most when I'm out of London, through NT Live, but I'd love to come back, and I will be following Indu Rubazingham's new tenure as artistic director with lots of hope and excitement. The Donmar Warehouse is such a cool theatre. I think I first came to know of it through the revival of Cabaret there, directed by Sam Mendes, who is probably one of my idols. Recently, I've been obsessed with its other productions, like the David Laveau 9 that transferred to Broadway, and Benedict Andrews' The Cherry Orchard, which remains one of the most chilling things I've ever seen. Like the other theatres on this list, it has a very storied past. There are many great production photos on the walls that I love to look at. I think the main selling point of the Donmar is just how intimate it is. With only around 250 seats, it's smaller than even many off-Broadway venues in New York. The Donmar says that you will never be more than 4 rows away from an actor, and you definitely feel that closeness. I will have been to the Donmar twice by the end of the semester, for Kip Williams' The Maid and the new production of When We Were Married. For both of them, I got standing room tickets at the back of the mezzanine, but even those were closer than many seats I've had in other venues in London. When a play or musical is trying to connect with its audience, you truly can't put a price on intimacy, and the Donmar has that in spades. The Bridge Theatre is the last theatre on this list, and it's also my favorite in London. Located right next to Tower Bridge and facing the Tower of London, the Bridge is like a chameleon in the types of productions it hosts. It's essentially a huge black box theatre, endlessly flexible with some of the coolest set designs and stagings you'll ever see, made even more exciting by artistic director Nick Heitner's excellent programming. Notably, the Bridge has put on productions with promenade tickets, meaning the audience will be standing where the orchestra seats usually would be, and the actors perform on raised platforms. It's very much like pit tickets at a concert, but it also evokes the groundling tickets at the Globe. I think there's something very special and active about standing so close to performers. You get to truly be a part of the production rather than sitting back and passively absorbing everything. I got one of these standing tickets for the revival of Heitner's production of A Midsummer Night's Dream. It was so fun, one of the most energizing nights at the theater I've ever had. As an aside, there's a part in the play where the mechanicals, when trying to put on their play, ask the audience for a phone. I happened to be standing right next to the actor playing Nick Bottom, offered my phone, they took it, and then I got some really cool photos from it. That was at the beginning of the semester, and now at the end, I managed to make it back to the Bridge to see their production of Into the Woods, and the space has been transformed totally into a proscenium stage. Where I had been standing a few months ago, there now were seats. Another notable aspect of the Bridge is just how young it is. Heitner and Nick Starr founded it in 2017 after their tenure at the National Theatre. It's not even 10 years old yet. That the Bridge is so young and has already built up this very impressive reputation in the London theatre scene is really impressive, and I think speaks to the work that the two Nicks put out. My only wish is that a venue like this opened in New York, if just to host productions from the Bridge, like their Guys and Dolls, which I'm really sad I couldn't get to see. That's the end of this video. As I mentioned earlier, London is really such a great cultural city because of the diverse range of independent producing houses. Take one away and every other space suffers. There's something new on every single night in London because of these places, and I'm really grateful to get the chance to experience them. Bye!